actually kind of like this vlog thing, so I don't have to type a lot about what I did. Um, I was just gonna make a really short one just to talk about my classes. I'm taking 7 classes, and 4 of them are Japanese classes, and 3 are English. They're not English. Well, okay, 2 of them are English classes, but the other one's taught in English. The first one is creative business, and it's taught in English by a Japanese guy who was born in America, but he speaks no Japanese. Fun. His name is Kubota, and Larry Kubota. Um, and the class is kind of interesting. It's about business and how business and art intertwine to make successful companies, and like there's 3 things we're studying. It's Pixar, Facebook, and Mixie, and yeah, so it's really interesting. Then my second class is English Conversation A Kaiwa, and it's pretty much just like it sounds. It's English conversation, which I don't need to be in that class at all, but since I want to be an English teacher here someday, very soon, it's actually a really good class for me to watch the teacher, who is, by the way, very eccentric, and he's 62 years old, but he does not act 62 years old. He acts like a 25, 30-year-old, but it's so fun in his class, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy it, because it's good that I'm in the class not just for the sake of, oh, it's an easy A and I need this class. I can be there for the other students if they have troubles. They can actually talk to an English speaker, and I think, well, I don't know, but I hope it'll help a lot, and I hope I can make lots of friends in that class. So far I've made maybe 2 or 3 so far. I've only been to the class twice, so hopefully that'll be good. And then I have oral communication, which it's oral communication in English. It's the class. It's based on this system. It's all based online, where you register for the system online. It's $20, but at least you don't have to buy textbook for the class. Like I have not bought a textbook yet. I need to buy 1 textbook for my class. 1. So I was like, oh, sweet. And that's only going to be like $20, so. But for my oral communication class, after you get registered on the computer, during class, the teacher is sitting there with his computer at the front of the class, and it randomly picks 2 people to come up front of the class and just speak in English. That's all. If one makes a mistake, he stops the clock and they go sit down, and you do that twice to everyone. And then after that, it's a volunteer phase where people can come up and volunteer to talk to the teacher in English. If you mess up, stop the clock, and that's it. Pretty easy. So I'm only technically in there for half the class. When I am in the class for the whole time, but I'm actually really only helpful during like the first part, where like if someone is talking, I can be like, do you mean, I can help the person out, because the longer time you get, the higher your grade is. Like, I stood up there when it was my turn to volunteer. I stood up there, I'm an English speaker. I can go for quite a long time speaking English and not really messing up. And if I do, I just say, oh, I'm sorry, and just like keep going on. And so I'd go up there, and I had like, every time I'd go up there, I'd try to speak just a little bit, but then I'd just stop, and he would say, oh, okay, well, you can go. And so he's like, you can talk as long as you want. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we sat up there for 5 minutes, and then he's like, okay, I'll stop the clock at 5 minutes, but that's really good. like I felt so, like, people are like, why the hell is she in this class, But, none of them, I don't think any of them were like that. because afterwards they'd come up to me and talked with me, and they were like, "Oh, it's so cool that you're in our class and stuff." So, the teacher says it's a really good listening practice for the students, because then they can also strive to be like, "Oh, I want to be so good that I can actually talk to her and talk to the teacher like that," and stuff like that. And then I have those are all my English classes, and then my Japanese classes I have Nihongo Ichi, Nihongo Ni, Nihongo Nyumon Ichi, and Nihongo Nyumon Ni. So Japanese 1, 2, and Japanese grammar 1 and 2. The Japanese 1 and 2 classes, pretty much all we've done so far is we watch dramas. Yes, in class we watch dramas. It's an amazing class. But the thing is, you watch the drama and there'll be a certain spot where, of course, it's going to be like the fastest talking part, but we have a worksheet that asks you what did they say, and you have to write exactly what they said. And it's really good for listening and writing, so that's really good. And then in my Nihongo, the Japanese grammar classes, it's pretty much Japanese grammar, so we learn the grammar, and it's writing. And Nyumon 2, Japanese grammar 2, is actually more of a speaking class, so we have speeches in that class that we're going to have to work on. So, and those classes are actually tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, April 21st, and it's like 8 o'clock at night. So, yeah, those are pretty much my classes. I only have classes Monday through Thursday. My schedule is pretty sad looking. I'm kind of sad about my classes, that I'm only taking 7 when I'm only going to be here for 5 months. But at the same time, I don't want to boggle myself down when I have these 2 online classes already, or still, and they're not going to be over until May. And actually, speaking of those classes, I just had to take a test today. Me and Lorraine took a test. We passed it, made an 80%, yeah! But, yeah, I don't know. Actually, the reason I started this was I was going to show you my food, which is probably cold now, but look at my food. I have, I can't stretch it that far, but I have gyoza and chicken on a stick. It's not yakitori, it's just like chicken on a stick. And then it's the sauce for the gyoza. Yeah. I bought stuff at the supermarket today because tomorrow I'm going to not buy any food from the convenience store or the cafeteria. I'm going to make my food tonight. Hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. Hopefully tonight I'll make my food so I can pack it in my bento and just take it to school. Because tomorrow's my busiest day, which is kind of sad because I only have 3 classes, but still, I don't know, my day begins at, classes are usually once a week, except for one class. I have it twice a week, and it's for an hour and a half. So for a whole hour and a half, you just sit there. I have, let's see, on tomorrow I have 3 classes, and they're all in a row. So it's from 9 to 10:30, then 10:40 to 12:10, and then we have only 15 minutes for lunch, which is rather ridiculous because if you go to the cafeteria at lunchtime, everyone goes there. So you have to wait like 10-15 minutes just to get lunch, and then you still have to like squeeze through all the crowd. Then immediately after that at 1 I have a class until 2:30, which I'm starting to, every time after my classes then I go eat lunch, which I can't do it tomorrow, but after my classes I'm going to go to the cafeteria and just sit and do my homework, and yeah. I'm hopefully going to get a job soon. I really want to study, or I want to teach English really bad. I was helping out this one person and I loved it. I want to do that more. But I didn't realize I've been talking for 10 minutes and my food's probably really cold. So I actually might do more of these. I figured I wouldn't, but I'm like, it's so easy just to talk instead of type and try to remember everything, because, well, I guess if I type then I can actually remember everything instead of just talking, because if I talked, or if I said